Hi guys, I'm back. I had a couple of days that I had to do other things, but here I am with the updated sponsor list. So thank you all for sponsoring my channel. I really appreciate it. And I haven't touched this because I know that a lot of people would want to see how I do it. So this is what happened with the salt, as you can see. And as you can see, these two are how I just painted them with the fluid watercolor. Now there's a lot of big pieces of salt on here, and what you just do is just brush them off, and some will be pretty much stuck on there. You can do it with a brush, you can do it with your hands, you can do it with anything, but I'm going to do it with a brush. So just like this, you brush them off, as you can see. There it is. You don't want to do it with this thing because that's going to really, if you don't have good paper, it's going to ruin it. So what you really, I'm just throwing it on the floor. Yes, I'm a slob. But you just want to take it off like this. So, and if you do it like this, I'll show you that it will leave marks. Well, maybe not this paper because this is really thick, a very thick paper. But as you can see, it comes off. Sometimes you have to help it a little bit, but most of the time it just comes straight off. See, all the salt has all beautiful colors. Almost ashamed to throw it away. But before you start taking it off, make sure that it's totally dry, because that's very important. Okay, that's most of it. Now, if you really want it really clean, what you can do, I don't know if you guys have them, but they are these blades that you usually use to get the paint off your windows when you've painted the windows. So all you have to do is really make sure that you get everything off like that. Now, depending on what you're using to make these spots, it will be more difficult or easier, because if you put rice on it, will be easier to take off. Okay, I think we got it all now. Yeah, that's it. Oops, got my hair stuck in the microphone. Okay, we got it all off. Now, you can start, now I got a hole in my gloves. Well, it doesn't matter. It's watercolor. Now, what you can do is come back in with a new layer, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to look for a little lighter color. Now I'll use that turquoise. Now remember that everything that's fluid, it really needs a little shake before you start using it. So don't forget to shake. And I'm going to put it on a little plastic lid and add some water, because I don't want it too much, you know, not too much color. Now what you can do is just come straight over it like that. And then with a clean brush, make it that it sort of fades into the rest. See that? That makes it fade. A little bit more water. And this is sort of just giving it a color glaze. So then you just go straight over the top of everything with one color. And as you can see, this part is much darker than this. It brings out the colors. So here we go. And you can do this as many times as you like, because and you can use different colors for every single layer. There it is. Now it's just a little bit deeper than what we started with. And when you have this, this is just the sort of a background. When this is totally dry and you're satisfied with what you got, and then you can start coming in with some sort of a pen, or you can even use stamps if you like that. You can stamp it, and you can do all kinds of stuff with it, but just use this as a background, and that way you'll have something really colorful in the background, and on the front you'll do something with, like I said, stamps are pretty cool because you can just stamp them on, and you can use different color stamp pads, and it will give something well, very pleasing to the eye. Now you don't have to, whoops, you don't have to use the whole thing. I'm throwing those bottles. You don't have to use the whole thing, because if you were to do this, I'll show you up close a little. If you were only to do this, as you can see, it's already pretty, right? So you don't have to use the whole thing. This is nice. You could do this one, that is kind of cool. But you just go with the flow, do everything you want to do with it, and then come in with one of these little mats, and you can just choose exactly which piece you really like. And I kind of like that with a lot of blue and the green on the bottom, like that. That is really pretty. So I can't go further. This is the downside of doing this kind of art, because you have to keep on waiting for the layers to dry, and then add another, and then dry and add another. And you can really build it up with all sorts of really pretty colors. So right now I would really like to give this a little bit of water. And like I said, you have to shake everything. Put a little dot on there. See how much color that is? But just blot it out a little bit and let it do its own thing. See how it goes on, has its own life. So that's kind of cool. And right here, if you think, okay, I like that, you can add salts just again and again and again, because every time you add the salts, and this time I ripped this out of my pantry, and we should be using this to eat. This is not the good rice. See that? We have different rice. This is rice with quinoa and grains. So I can't really use this to put on here, but you know the idea. Just get the cheapest rice you can get, and if you put that on there, it will also soak up the moisture and leave little pretty little lightened patterns. So that's cool. Now if I were to use my salt, I will just a little bit here, not too much. That smells beautiful. I used to make my own perfume too. That's an whole other story. But as you can see, that is kind of pretty. Now up here I want to go with another color, and that's that really beautiful bright green. And this time I'm dropping it on the brush. See how that comes to life? That is kind of cool. These colors are so intense. They are really pretty. So we'll leave that one there. And then we'll go for a little bit of a darker green. That's that. Give that a little bit more water. But I'm keeping it within the lines of the previous patterns that I made because I sort of like that. You do want some sort of a boundary where those colors are. So that's kind of nice. And again, I'm going to add a little bit of salt because I like those patterns in there. And we'll just let that dry. Now the next time I come back with this one, I will be, I will have it all done. I will do some, well, I want to show you one more thing you can use. Now if you have a good art store, these are, you can buy these in an art store. They're bamboo pens, see that? And they will give you a really nice line, and especially if you use ink like Indian ink, it will give you a very, and if you know, you don't just do it straight, but you sort of twist the bamboo pen. And these cost next to nothing because they are something like 3 for €1, something like that. So 3 for $1, and you can use them a really long time. They even have a split in there, I think. Well, at least a hole. But you can just, you know, dip it into your Indian ink and then come down with lines, and it leaves a beautiful organic line, not a totally straight line. It won't be, the whole line won't have the same width, so it's really organic looking. And that's what I like to use if you're doing something, you know, to make some art. So we're gonna put this away. I'm gonna put away all the colors that I have because I have them all around me. There are a lot of colors. I think they have something like over 40 colors. So I'm gonna put them away, and I'm going to fill up my marbling tray with water. I had my husband buy me some demineralized water because I thought maybe I'll just try that because oh, now I spilled it on there. That's too bad. But as you can see, that is pretty too. I love those colors. But this is thicker paper, and I'm not sure if it's going to be picking up the paint in the marbling tray, but I really hope so because this paper is top notch. It's white, it doesn't yellow. It's thick, much thicker than the normal printer paper, as you can see. And I'm hoping that it will give me a little bit more of a artsy look instead of the printer paper. I'll show you the printer paper. See, this is much thinner, and it's okay if you frame it. There's no problem at all, but this is just a little bit nicer. But it depends if it picks it up. That's the main thing. But you'll see that in about 15 minutes as soon as I clean this all up and set up my marbling. I'm going to do black and white. I've been looking online for some inspiration, and I got some inspiration, so I'll be back in a flash. Yes, thank you all for watching. Love you all to pieces. Liebe euch alle. Hou voor jullie allemaal. Doei doei.